You were like, well, Amon needs to be on a higher shelf. I'm like, that's fine. I seriously, I don't really fucking give a shit, man. I really don't. I'm not going to be probably as titillating about the drugs because I don't think that our consciousness works the way it does now back then. So typically when I hear someone saying this was all drug use, I'm just like, that's too bad, because when you look at the genetic structures of the lotus flower that we found, we're able to look at the actual psychedelic signatures that causes in our brain. And today in our consciousness, that would not, it wouldn't do anything. It would do nothing. This is why I have this idea that we learn to see blue. And so when I hear him speak about the sacred purple, I think it's really more of a mark of the priest, because these guys could distinguish the color while everyone else saw it as brown. That early consciousness was a lot more colorblind. But if you take it back and look at the root of all the colors of all the words, you'll find that blue is a complexity. So is orange. So is purple. And that purple would be a new thing that only a few people would see. The pharaohs saw the same thing. They were able, for whatever reason, early pharaohs were able to close their eyes and see the opposite color. This probably was something that was more built on, they had a higher caloric memory, a phonological loop, so they could store, i.e. what you and I think of as burn, the colors longer, because really you're just, you're memorizing the color. You're memorizing the color. So the resolution changes, the resolution grows of our reality, and having a purple cult will be related to that. So when we look at it, this was all like vile drug use and we were raping the virgin and things like that. It's yes, all those things are true, but if you read the story of Jesus inside the garden, if you read his story, that garden is definitely a temple of sex virgins, absolutely. But if you read the story of Jesus, this was a journey of suffering. Jesus was an NDE addict. He was addicted to highly dilating experiences, and he felt that the NDE, the near-death experience, was one of many of the tools that he could use to do that. The fervor in the day was the psychological addiction to consciousness. So the cults that you see, I do not think were drug cults. I think they were consciousness cults. And if you'd like an example, I will tell you. Circumcision was gang, the Crips and the Bloods were placing their member on the barrel and circumcising themselves in front of each other to show dominance. Now, you and I see this as a dominance ploy, and I'm telling you, they didn't need drugs for this. You wouldn't want drugs for this. It would be weaker for you to hit Bacchus and then go do this. You're not actually doing anything at that point, because keep in mind, consciousness is so simple that when Bacchus comes, you become a different person. You animize into the mob, which is why you chase women down the streets with giant wooden dildos and rape them. That was the norm. That was the norm. So the reason why Christianity was objected and fought against was because they were fighting against the norm. Why were they fighting against the norm? Was it because they were super holy and this is the only special religion and that's why everyone gets to go to hell who isn't saved? No. They were fighting against the norm because it burned when they peed. The pain of all the STDs, of all this mass sex cults, served them enough, and the muladhara, the nature itself, taught itself, okay, what do you do with this energy if it's not feeding you properly? Here comes some syphilis. And now you have someone who has a throttle on their muladhara, on their malkuth, on their lowest level chakra. They are now forced to take that and move it up the spine and use it to grow. It's forced growth. This is why Christianity took off. It took off because the addiction to consciousness was able to thrive and grow under the principle and the development of the frontal lobe, the Promethean ability to abstain. This is one of the most advanced conscious gears that you could possibly have in the world. Abstention.